How's it going, Mark?
Pretty good. Still kind of recovering from the debate.
Yeah, that was a little different than the first one.
I'd really like to look at and work through it was at least 15 minutes that they spent on the environment.
How would you both combat climate change and support job growth at the same time? Starting with you, President Trump, you have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
So we have the Trillion Trees program. We have so many different programs. I do love the environment, but what I want is the cleanest, crystal clear water, the cleanest air.
Climate change, climate warming, global warming is an existential threat to humanity. We have a moral obligation to deal with it. And we're told by all the leading scientists in the world, we don't have much time.
They didn't really cover it right away. As it went on, I kind of saw more of it, but right away it was kind of just, to me, it seemed like the blanket, yeah, we totally care about this and we're going to tell you why. Just give us a minute. You know what I mean? I didn't really think either candidates looked like they were very passionate about it, if that makes sense.
Your candidate, Donald Trump, never mentioned the words climate change or global warming.
Yeah.
I just read a meme today. Stop asking people if they believe in climate change. Ask them if they understand what it is.
Yeah, that's probably a better way to put it, because you start asking people, do you believe in climate change? I mean, of course, right now in northern Wisconsin, it's freezing and it snowed 4 inches. So a lot of people are like, no, because it's October and it's snowing. But people also don't understand, I think, the full question and the full.
And I believe Donald Trump doesn't have a clue. And if he does have a clue, like he did have a clue about COVID-19, but he masked it, he's not approaching it. He's ignoring it.
We have the best, lowest number in carbon emissions, which is a big standard that I notice Obama goes with all the time. Not Joe. I haven't heard Joe use the term because I'm not sure he knows what it represents or means.
4 more years of this man eliminating all the regulations that were put in by us to clean up the climate, eliminate emissions, will put us in a position where we're going to be in real trouble.
You're right. Like, it doesn't seem like Trump is really convincing when he talks about it. But I'm still with Biden on that. Like, I didn't really feel convinced by his arguments to what he's going to do either.
I looked this stuff up. Carbon emissions have declined somewhat during the 4 years that Trump has been in office. That's because they were declining before, thanks to the standards that were put in by the Obama administration. In fact, since Trump has come in, they have slowed. If he stays in another 4 years, there will be an increase of 1.8 billion tons of carbon emissions, reflecting a 3% rise in emissions.
We are working so well with industry, but here's what we can't do. Look at China, how filthy it is. Look at Russia. Look at India. It's filthy. The Paris Accord, I took us out because we were going to have to spend trillions of dollars and we were treated very unfairly. When they put us in there, they did us a great disservice. They were going to take away our businesses. I will not sacrifice tens of millions of jobs, thousands and thousands of companies because of the Paris Accord.
I was able to get both all the environmental organizations as well as labor, people worried about jobs, to support my climate plan.
This is the craziest plan that anybody has ever seen. They want to knock down buildings and build new buildings with little, tiny, small windows. I mean, and many other things.
Okay.
We can grow and we can be cleaner if we go the route I'm proposing.
I did some reading on the Paris Accord because I kind of thought knew a little bit about it. That is about as confusing as Brexit is to me. Like, I really don't understand who's supposed to pay when and when the hell. I will say, though, that is the one thing I wasn't mad about, because, like, maybe we shouldn't have got out of it totally, but it kind of seemed to me like they wanted America to pay a lot.
I think you might be combining NATO with climate. I didn't like the way Trump tried to humiliate his allies, but I bought the argument that the NATO allies should be paying their own way. You're not necessarily paying in for the climate accord. You are agreeing to reach lower levels of carbon emissions based on your footprint, to bow out of a leadership role in saving our planet. Anyone who ignores it does it at our world's peril.
I know more about wind than you do. It's extremely expensive, kills all the birds, it's very intermittent, got a lot of problems. And the fumes coming up, if you're a believer in carbon emission, the fumes coming up to make these massive windmills is more than anything that we're talking about with natural gas, which is very clean. One other thing.
Find me a scientist
Solar.
said that.
I love solar, but solar doesn't quite have it yet. It's not powerful yet to really run our big, beautiful factories that we need to compete with the world.
We have to move toward a net zero emissions. The first place to do that by the year 2035 is in energy production, by 2050 totally.
All right. One
Is he
final
gonna get
question
China to
both
do
of
it?
you. No, we're finished with
Is
this.
he
We
going
have
to
to
get
move on
China
to
to
our
do it?
final question. We
No,
have to
I'm
move
going
on
to
to our final
rejoin Paris
question.
Accord and make China abide by what they agreed to.
All right. So I'd like to start off with what Joe Biden said about making China agree. As far as I can tell, I don't think anyone can make China do anything. I think they view us as a joke because they measure their time in dynasties, and we've been around for like 250 years or a little bit more. If we rejoin anything to say China's going to do this, like we owe them. Like, I don't know how we're going to make a valid argument to say you have to do this without them being like, go fuck yourselves.
This is Donald Trump, who said he had his way with China because he was going to impose all this trade boycott. So all of a sudden, he's playing the other side. The only ones he can bully are the allies. That's going to make America great. And that's the bar that you want to reach. China and Russia and India, those are the people. Why don't you look at Denmark and Sweden and Germany? They're doing amazing things with reducing emissions. His argument is so weak, it sounds like a loser. And he talks about that wind is killing birds. Todd, all the oil spills around the world, what they do to the animals, and he's talking about birds being killed. That's the reason to knock wind. I truly believe that this issue is a bigger, more important, more dangerous one than COVID-19. COVID-19 will pass.
When we were all locked up, look at all the animals. They said in Maryland they had eagles sitting on eggs. When was the last time in Maryland they had eagles sitting on eggs? I mean, that was visual evidence of holy shit, we're definitely infecting something.
The fact that we're having this conversation reinforces the importance of it, because a lot of Democrats don't think Republicans respect the data, the science behind global warming. They're calling it a hoax. They're calling it a democratic thing. And it's not. This is as important as the thing that we agreed on before, and that was voting.
Do you believe right now, with the debates, full-heartedly that Joe Biden will make a positive change to the environment?
Between the two, without a doubt.
I kind of place blame on the American people, us, because really, if we didn't want big trucks, diesel trucks, all the fancy shit, if we didn't